Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings, and today we are looking at the difference between a rubber stamp and a wax seal. I'm also going to have a quick look at other rubber stamps too because they're interesting, they're fun. So let's get down to it. Okay people, here we go with some of the basic essentials of life if you're a mad keen writer of letters and things. First of all, naturally, there's an excellent cup of coffee. Now, I demonstrated this stamp, very clever Selfinking stamp that brings up this logo for me last week. I was sent by my excellent friend Chris this, which is, I don't know how to describe it apart from the fact it's a rubber stamp. It's rather lovely, quite a bit larger than that one, and his idea was that when I've written a book and I go out signing books, I could have a stamp pad, I could sign the book, stamp it, and then stamp the book with my logo. And I think that's an excellent idea. However, he also knew that I was a mad, keen enthusiast for all things weird and wonderful. And he sent me this, a beautiful, I assume it's solid brass stamp with the same logo, that one, engraved on it. And I'm going to enjoy showing how you use this. This is a little cooker. It has an ordinary nightlight in it. The nightlight sits underneath there. And then this is a little receptacle which you can put over the top of the flame to melt wax. Now there's been lots of ways of doing wax in the past, wax seals. It is after all a very ancient way of verifying who has sent a letter. And one way that people used to melt their wax was they'd have quite a large bowl because they wrote a lot of letters, and in that they would have sticks of wax. You can still buy sticks of wax. They're very efficient, very effective, I'm sure. Some firms sell sticks of wax with a thread, a wick, running through it. So you light the wick and that melts the wax all around it, and then you turn the stick so that it gives an equal amount of wax dripping onto the page that you want to seal. And that works very well. A more modern way is to buy these little tablets of wax. Now I am reliably informed that the best way to use these is to have about 4 or 5, probably usually 5, melt them down, and that should be just about the perfect quantity for a seal of this size. Now, because I'm the sort of person I am, I have prepared a letter which needs to be sealed. One thing I should say, as I understand it, there's various types of wax. Some of the modern waxes are quite flexible. Older sealing waxes were really very brittle, and the reason was that you wanted to be able to see if someone had tampered with your seal and tampered with your letters. So they were designed to be brittle so that if anybody tried to open the envelope, it would be obvious. Nowadays, of course, a brittle seal would just be destroyed by all the machines in the post office services. So modern waxes tend to be a lot more supple. They can actually bend with the machines as they're going through them. But they would be wrecked if you just had them going through a machine normally. So if you're going to send a letter sealed properly, then you're going to have to use 2 envelopes. One envelope has the seal on it, and then that goes inside the second envelope to make sure it's protected in transit. So, what do you need? You need, as a very minimum, a spoon and a candle. You can heat the spoon over the candle yourself. You don't actually need this really rather delightful little additional tool. But I'm going to use this because I think it's really rather nice. I'm also going to hold it slightly away over here so the heat rise is there, not there, because I don't want to melt my camera. And now there is one last thing I need. And the last thing I need is this, which is a kitchen towel with a little bit of water dripped into it. And the idea is that you let the seal rest there for a while, it cools it, and possibly the moisture gives it a little bit of lubrication as well. But basically it means that your seal is going to be much better produced. So, let's get some tablets of wax. I'm going to use 5, because that's what I was told. And I do what I'm told, usually. 3, 4, 5. There you go. 5 tablets of sealing wax. That goes out of the way there. I lift this up. Inside there is the candle. This is a lighter. And there, as you can see, nice little candle flame. So now we put the sealing wax over the top and give it a few minutes. It does need to be stirred, because otherwise you can get burned bits of wax, which is not ideal for anyone. Certainly doesn't look very good when you're sending your letter out. So I'm just using a toothpick as a stirrer here. And you can see the bottom ones are already melting really rather well. Takes a little while. Not terribly long, but a little while. Just removing the dog hair that invariably gets into everything in this house. And now, as you can see, they're starting to dissolve. One thing I've seen other people do is use multiple different colours of sealing wax. They'll put them all in and melt them together, and then give them a single stir, and then they get a delightful swirled pattern of sealing wax. Other people have 2 or 3 burners and they'll mix different quantities of different waxes and put them straight onto the paper in 3 different blobs, 4 different blobs, whatever they've got. And then again they get a different coloured pattern. So there's a lots of different ways you can use sealing waxes. They're getting quite popular again now because a lot of people will have special stamps produced for example, their weddings. As you can tell, it is not the fastest way of sealing an envelope, but I still think it's one of the most delightful. Now, I have a letter that hasn't been sealed here. I've got my sealing wax. And here we go. I'm reliably informed that it's best to pour it in a sort of a swirl like that, because it works better. Here's the seal. On it goes. Just hold it in place. And I've just done again what I did the first time I tried to use the seal. The first time I did it, I put the seal down, picked it up and realised I put the damn thing in upside down. This this led me to have this brilliant idea where I put a mark so I could see where the top of the seal is. Just pull it out. As you can see, I've managed to put it that way inclined, but it's a fully functioning seal. The letter is sealed. That will work fine. Now, you may not want to go to all the palaver and the difficulty of producing a seal like that. Maybe you're happy with an ordinary old-fashioned rubber stamp. Here is one that came at the same time. This is the one that was suggested for signing books, and I think it will be used for that. So, let's just do a quick test of how this one looks compared to the other one. That's that. Before I do any envelopes, I'm going to have this sheet of paper, I think. No, I won't. I'm going to use a fresh sheet. Here's a fresh sheet of paper. Now, you'll notice on this seal I have also marked where the top is, so I can see. First time the seal's been used, it's not quite perfect, I'd say. That's a bit better. You have to make sure there's an equal pressure on all sides. I think that looks rather good. This also looks very good, and it's clearer cut. This is the stamp that I got from Stamps Direct, and it is very, very effective. I rather like the blue one because it's just that little bit larger, and when I'm out and about and signing books, I will normally sign my name. That's my normal signing signature. I once was at a show, a literary festival with a friend, and one of the questions we were asked was, do you use your normal signature when signing your books, or do you have a special one? And my friend Phil said, well, I always use the normal one, obviously. Why would you bother having a separate signature? And I said, well, I always use a different one. That's not my signature that I use signing credit cards and bank statements or cheques, because I don't want someone copying my signature for cheques and so on. And my friend suddenly went very pale, and I think he's changed his attitude since then. There we go. So that's how my books may look in future, with an absolutely delightful stamp on it and my name running through it. Maybe not. I might have the stamp just to one side and sign over the edge of it. Maybe more like that. Why? Because people tend to value the author's actual signature. So having the stamp as well, I think, would be a nice idea, but I don't think the stamp should take over from the signature. So there you go. This type of stamp, a rubber stamp, is very appealing to me. I like the fact that you can see where the rubber is not perfect. It gives it a little bit more character. This type is very, very efficient indeed, and it is a very effective stamp for any number of purposes. I mean, it's a really good sized stamp. Often when I send out letters nowadays, I'll do that. Not particularly imaginative, but it just looks nice, I think. But also now I have this as an option. which I just find thoroughly appealing. So there you have it, folks. You can, if you want, just lick the envelope and seal it that way and leave it at that. That's fine, it's no problem. But if you want to take things up just a little bit, something like that is rather appealing. It works nicely, as is that, the old-fashioned stamp, which I rather like. But if you want to up your game with your correspondence, then this is a really nice way of doing it. Now you can get lots of different types of stamp for sealing waxes, just as you can get a huge variety of colours of wax themselves. But if you can, it's rather nice to get an individually produced one that is specific to you. You can get lots of stamps that would have a J or an M or something similar, but they'll be mass-produced stamps which are copied all over the world. Now what I like about this is no one else is going to have a stamp quite like that. This is unique to me. So if somebody receives a letter and it is sealed like this, the stamp of that seal will demonstrate it's actually a genuine thing from me. And that's rather nice. Hope that was interesting. Do please, I apologise for the clock, it's 1 o'clock. Do please, if you like that, like it, share it, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell button, because then that means that you'll get notified when new videos come through. If you want to support the channel, there's a link to my Patreon account down the bottom. There's also a link to PayPal, and if you're interested in all these weird and wonderful stationery type things, consider joining the Pen Pals Club. There's a link down at the bottom where you can write to me, courtesy of writerlywitterings at iCloud, and I will send you a link so that you can join the Pen Pals Club, and it'll give you access to a whole bunch of people around the world who are interested in writing to you and receiving letters from you, which is fun. So why not do it? It beats being stuck indoors doing nothing during lockdown after all. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope that was interesting. Take care and speak to you soon. Bye.